So listen, let's go.
For office, he was very hostile.
I can't believe
indicated that a pardon is likely not on the table because of
they
that
still
break
begging for
in
pardons.
his relationship with Mr. Combs years ago. How is he feeling now about the chances of a pardon given the president's commentary?
I think that Mr. Combs is a very hopeful person, and I believe that he remains hopeful.
Have people in Sean Combs's orbit, have they had conversations with the Trump administration?
Yes, it's my understanding that we've reached
So understanding, you don't know?
conversations in reference to a pardon.
I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great. Seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
The president indicated that a pardon is likely not on the table because of that break in his relationship with Mr. Combs years ago. How is he feeling now about the chances of a pardon given the president's commentary?
I think that Mr. Combs is a very hopeful person, and I believe that he remains hopeful.
Have people in Sean Combs's orbit, have they had conversations with the Trump administration?
Yes, it's my understanding that we've reached out and had conversations in reference to a pardon.
I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great. Seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
The president indicated that a pardon is likely not on the table because of that break in his relationship with Mr. Combs years ago. How is he feeling now about the chances of a pardon given the president's commentary?
I think that Mr. Combs is a very hopeful person, and I believe that he remains hopeful.
Have people in Sean Combs's orbit, have they had conversations with the Trump administration?
Yes, it's my understanding that we've reached out and had conversations in reference to a pardon.
I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great. Seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well.
Why are you lying? You knew him very well. Oh, that part is... I didn't know him well. Yes,
indicated that a pardon is likely not on the table because of that break in his relationship with Mr. Combs years ago. How is he feeling now about the chances of a pardon given the president's commentary?
I think that Mr. Combs is a very hopeful person, and I believe that he remains hopeful.
Hey, Dara. Hey, Janet.
Have people in Sean Combs's orbit, have they had conversations with the Trump administration?
Yes, it's my understanding that we've reached out and had conversations in reference to a pardon.
I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great. Seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well.
You lied.
But when I ran for office,
you lied. Oh.
The president indicated that a pardon.
I cannot with his lies. I didn't know him very well. You knew him for years. What's
Listen,
this?
you know your perfume's good when people stop you mid-sentence.
Hey, y'all, come on in. Let me try to catch up.
Let me show you the secret.
You guys, come in, sit down. We gotta talk about this. What is going on in Diddy's team? I don't know
They
why
begging?
they felt the need to, but for some reason, Diddy's lawyers are confirming they approached Trump. One, this makes Mark Agnifilo look like a liar. Two, Trump is literally putting Diddy through a humiliation ritual. At least I think so. Three, Diddy is literally like that dude, can't stop, won't stop. You tell him no, you can't have my number. He in your face. You tell him no, I got a man. He said he can come to dinner too. He is that mofo that won't get out of your face when you tell him to leave you alone. And Trump has told Diddy, don't you see me tied up with this Maxwell stuff? Get out of here. Go eat some maggot burgers over there. Whatever he said he served them. Diddy, if you guys know,
feeding the maggots, y'all.
Served maggots at the MDC and fearing for his life because apparently those boys in jail are talking about baby run up and get done up. Now let's get into this. There is so much going on.
It is
But
a
my
lot
question
going
is,
on.
why would they even admit to this?
Shout out to Tisa. It is so much
Let's
going
get into
on,
this.
yeah.
Attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs confirmed they've approached Trump administration about a pardon. Now, mind you, Mark Agnifilio just actually a couple of days ago did an interview in Variety, and he literally said that nobody on the team has approached Trump about a pardon. It's something in the gossip and rumor mill, but it's.
I'm joined now by the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Robert Garcia. Congressman, thanks for joining me.
Hold on, I accidentally hit the wrong button.
It's something in the gossip
Hey,
rumor
Cynthia.
mill, but it's not real. And I was like, I know you a lie. Now, I do want to point out that we were the first one to report this back in December and again in January, that Diddy was 100% seeking out a pardon and getting his money in a row. At the time, people said we was crazy. They said we were lying. Go look at the video on the timestamps. I hope everybody that left a hate comment feels stupid and dumb, just like Diddy. So first, let's get into the confirmation. This is directly in CNN, baby. We don't have to say sources. Nicole Westmoreland, a member of Sean Diddy Combs' All-Star Defense Team, told CNN in an exclusive interview on Tuesday that the music mogul's team, not just her, but the team, so Mark Agnifilio, why are you looking like a liar right now? The team has reached out to the Trump administration.
He didn't know him well.
About a potential pardon following his conviction on 2 charges of transportation to engage in prostitution. She said, it's
He didn't know him well. We done showed these pictures. He know him real well.
Reference to a pardon. Now, Trump indicated he was unlikely to pardon Diddy during an interview with Newsmax last week, saying Trump was interviewing with Newsmax? I mean, no shade to Newsmax, but what? Anyway, did y'all see? I know. Did y'all see?
She's so funny.
Of Trump having his caddies move the ball, and then he said,
"Oh yeah, he
that
cheated."
His caddies exposed them for cheating at golf on purpose, and he's refusing to pay them. Anyway, right?
I wouldn't deal with
Anyway,
Trump.
Trump said in the interview, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and he seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well, but when I ran for office, he was very hostile. Yeah, Diddy. He's like,
He didn't know him well.
Kiss the rings, which leads me to my point.
Every time I said before, I seen him in more pictures with
He likes the pictures
Diddy
humiliation ritual before
than
he
Epstein.
No. Now get this. Trump said that this makes pardoning Diddy difficult to do. Now, asked of Diddy's feelings about his chances of pardon, even after Trump's remarks, Nicole said last week that Diddy is a very hopeful person. I believe he remains hopeful. Though I'm hopeful, here for today, keep being hopeful. Now, when contacted by CNN, the White House said they will not comment on the existence or non-existence of a clemency request. Okay, so here's the weird thing, okay?
They lying.
The prosecution said that they're going to assess a range that would end up being substantially higher than the original 4 to 5 years. What are we doing? Okay, so hear this. On their approach in the trial, Nicole said their strategy was to tell the truth. We didn't need to create a story. We didn't need to overreach. We knew that telling the truth would mean not guilty. We knew that he had not sex trafficked anyone. And we knew that RICO was absurd. So we figured, hey, we'll tell the truth, and that'll pay off. And I believe for the most part, that strategy worked. First of all,
a fresh ride.
Y'all lying.
Joy of finding out these
Y'all
wheels
paid.
can handle that epic road trip.
And that'll pay off. And I believe for the most part, that strategy worked. First of all, she added that the case shouldn't have been bought by the government in the first place, and that their second mistake was allowing it to keep going. The government knew that there was no way Combs committed sex trafficking or RICO, and they just continued prosecuting anyway. I think the jury saw through that. The jury was starstruck, and the jury fell for Nicole Westmoreland's games. And let me be clear, she did an amazing job, but what she did was morally bankrupt. Again, it was morally bankrupt the way she tore apart Barna on the stand.
Hold on, let me move you over here. You.
Confirmation. This is direct reference to a pardon. Now, Trump indicated he was unlikely to pardon Diddy during an interview with Newsmax last week, saying Trump was interviewing with Newsmax? I mean, no shade to Newsmax, but what? What? Anyway, did y'all see, side note, did y'all see all the video?
And then he'll
of
be
Trump
complaining because they
having his caddies
made him not look
move the
good.
ball? And then he said that he thinks his caddies exposed them for
What
cheating
is-
at golf on purpose, and he's refusing to pay them. Anyway, right?
Exposed him for cheating.
Anyway, Trump said in the
It's
I
their
was very
fault.
friendly with him. I got along with him great.
It's
And he
their
seemed like
fault.
a nice guy. I didn't know him well, but when I ran for office, he was very hostile. Yeah, Diddy. He's letting you know you ain't kissed the rings, which leads me to my point. I think Trump is trying to put Diddy through a humiliation ritual. But one thing I know about Trump, he likes to put you through a humiliation ritual before he says no. Now get this.
That's true.
Trump said that this makes pardoning Diddy difficult to do. Now, ask if Diddy's feelings about his chances of pardon.
He could probably
Even
trying to
after Trump
pardon
announced
everybody that's a
wholesale
part
last
of
week
that
Diddy is a
organization.
very hopeful
That
person.
pedo
I believe
organization.
he remains hopeful. You.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Hopeful, here for today. Keep being hopeful. Now, when contacted by CNN, the White House said they will not comment on the existence or non-existence of a clemency request. Okay, so here's the weird thing, okay? First of all, the prosecution said that they're going to assess a range that would end up being substantially higher than the original 4 to 5 years. What are we doing? Okay, so hear this. On their approach in the trial, Nicole said their strategy was to tell the truth. We didn't need to create a story. We didn't need to overreach. We knew that telling the truth would mean not guilty. We knew that he had not sex trafficked anyone, and we knew that RICO was absurd. So we figured, hey, we'll tell the truth, and that'll pay off. And I believe for the most part that strategy worked. First of all,
not sure if you saw the news, but Fox News is claiming President Trump
Yeah,
is
they
declining
paying
the
a
polls.
lot
President
for
Trump
advertising.
responded and says,
she added that the case shouldn't have been bought by the government in the first place, and that their second mistake was allowing it to keep going. The government knew that there was no way Combs committed sex trafficking or RICO, and they just continued prosecuting anyway.
He didn't know him
I think
well.
The jury saw through that.
Y'all,
The
please
jury
hit the
was
like button
starstruck,
coming
and the
in.
jury fell for Nicole
Even if you're in the
Westmoreland's game. So let
bushes,
me be
in the
clear.
clouds, I
She
can
did an
still see
amazing
you.
job.
Please hit the like button.
What she did was morally bankrupt. Again, it was morally bankrupt the way she tore apart Barna on the stand. The one thing, the Perry Mason moment everybody talks about, is because they were not allowed. So much evidence was excluded.
Right.
The call that came from Rob Holiday when Diddy was sitting behind him offering Barna a settlement. The text messages
So
between
much
Cassie and KK.
information was
All this
excluded.
stuff was excluded as hearsay. But there was more than enough messages to know, fine, Barna got the date wrong by a few days, but it still happened. Okay? She said Diddy was painted like a monster. There were a lot of allegations made before trial, and so I would imagine that any and everyone would want to clear their name. Again, listen, she destroyed Barna on trial, on the stand. However, everybody that was in the courtroom knew it was only because they couldn't bring in other evidence to prove that dangling over the balcony had happened. So congratulations, Nicole Westmoreland. You had your Perry Mason moment to expose her to looking like a liar. You did your job, which was to get that woman beater, the domestic violence abuser, and all-around psychological freak. You got him off. Congratulations. So this brings me to my point, right? Why is Nicole Westmoreland making these statements? Why isn't Brian Still? She's on Brian Still's team. And why isn't Mark Agnifilio? Why is it for this, what looks like a humiliation ritual?
Ooh, they talking about you, Melania, too. You was a freak on the
She
plane.
has bigger connections to the White House than
First
Brian
time
Still
you
and
met
Mark
him.
Agnifilio. Why did Mark say he didn't
You's
know
a
anything about
hoe. They say you's a hoe.
These are questions I'm trying to dig into and see what's
Ooh,
going
girl.
on. I have my guesses, but I'll share them when they're more fully formed. But one thing I do think is happening, I think Diddy is being put through a humiliation ritual with Trump. I'm actually, what am I saying, humiliation ritual? I think Trump is trying to humiliate Diddy. I think that Trump is still angry about the way Diddy was hostile. I think Trump is trying to humble Diddy and teach him a lesson. And guess what? I think Trump, at the end of the day, because he isn't vindictive, I think he's still going to tell Diddy no. I think he's still going to tell Diddy no. But going back to this, how is it Brian still just did an interview and said this was all lies? It was all rumor mill. It was all speculation. Absolutely nobody on the team has approached Trump. Again, I got word back in December and January that he was planning to ask for a presidential pardon. He wanted one and he was getting his pennies together. Again, this was confirmed in a Rolling Stone article, what was it, maybe 6 weeks ago? And now we have Nicole Westmoreland going in front of CNN and giving an exclusive pretty much that says that they are 100% hoping for a pardon. Why would they be doing that unless Trump's people said, if you get out there and say, I think maybe Trump said to them, or Trump's team said, like, yeah, you know, maybe we're working on the pardon, but you don't want to be associated with them and you want to look like you're getting a pardon without asking, no. If you want a pardon, you're going to have to kiss the rings and you're going to have to let everybody know, okay? But you're going to have to let everybody know that you want a pardon. But even if you did that, you big dummy, the block is too hot right now with just saying Maxwell, Diddy. Trump is being dragged for Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you think he's going to use his literal get out of jail free card on you, mofo? When you were very hostile, when Ghislaine actually might have pictures from Jeffrey Epstein's Christmas party? When Trump was standing under the mistletoe? Yeah, okay, Diddy. Okay. Anyway, you guys, listen. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Oh, my goodness.
We're looking into this. This raises so many more questions, but I do think that Trump is going out his way to make sure Diddy humiliates himself, and the answer is still going to be no, but baby, we love to see it. Make him crawl. Make him beg. Make his pockets hurt. Do what you got to do, Trump.
Leave him in there with y'all all pedos.
Anyway, y'all.
Y'all all pedos. I don't know, Mr. I don't know him well. Hand all around. I don't know him well. You just lie. Ugh. You lie about everything. You lie. Ugh. Oh my God. Ugh. Yeah, I just don't know how to handle it. He lies about everything and people just let him make it. And yes, he's going to make Diddy big. Yeah, I agree, Mimi. He needs to be impeached.
I do think that Trump is going out of his way to make sure Diddy humiliates himself.
It's far overdue.
And the answer's still going to be no, but baby, we love to see it. Make him crawl.
It's far overdue.
Beg. Make his pockets hurt. Do what you got to do, Trump.
Let's see what else.
Because we love to see it. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. And to everybody, I hope Diddy is enjoying the maggots in his food.
Yes, they talk about they feed the maggots. Oh my God, earlier I said pick it out. You know how just pick it out and keep eating if you hungry. If not, wait till your next meal. And now you ain't got money on your commissary? What? Oh, Lord, please forgive me because I would die if there was a bug in my food. But that's how he was treating people. He was treating people like they were maggots. Yeah, this is a real wake up call for Diddy. I ain't gonna even lie. And I just don't have no pity for him. I don't have none. What that's the not none.
Drizzle.
How long, y'all?
Drizzle. Mike's hot honey.
I know that we can get you up to speed, but can we get this thing to slow down once it gets there?
Come on.
You're not going to stop anything with the brakes.
Person in the world. And like every fourth richest person in the world, he dreams of becoming the richest person in the world, which could happen if Donald Trump decides to support that billionaire. of the billionaires who now lives in abject fear of Donald Trump. The owner of the Washington Post is actually the fourth richest person in the world. And like every fourth richest person in the world,
they scared of
he
Trump.
dreams of becoming the richest person in the world, which could happen if Donald Trump decides to support that billionaire's space exploration company, and if Donald Trump helps that billionaire get an edge in the business development of artificial intelligence. And so the fourth richest person in the world no longer allows the Washington Post to count Donald Trump's lies. During the first Trump presidency, the Washington Post
you can't count his lies no more.
573 lies that averaged up to 21 lies a day by Donald Trump. And there were days, remember, when Donald Trump didn't speak at all, didn't post anything at all, like when he had COVID. And that means that there were days when Donald Trump told many more lies than 21. Donald Trump told more than 21 lies this morning when he called into CNBC, as we will hear later in this hour, when we're joined by Nobel Prize-winning economist Paul Krugman. And then Donald Trump took some questions from reporters later in the Eisenhower office building beside the White House. And I leave it to you to decide if this was one of the lies Donald Trump told today. Question: were you aware of and did you personally approve the prison transfer for Ghislaine Maxwell? Answer: I didn't know about it at all.
Oh my God.
Nope. I read about it just like you did. The only people who can believe that are the people who believe every word Donald Trump says.
So he lied.
The next question was, who can believe that are the people who believe every word Donald Trump. I didn't know about it at all. Nope. I read about it just like you did. The only people who can believe that are the people who believe every word Donald Trump says. The next question was, do you believe that she's credible to be listening to? Your Deputy Attorney General sat down with her recently, to which Donald Trump responded, well, let me tell you, he's a very talented man. The reporter
what does that mean?
of CNN repeatedly says, but what about her? But what about her? As Donald Trump rambled on about his former criminal defense lawyer, Todd Blanche, who is now the Deputy Attorney General.
His former female friend, his former madam. She was also his madam as well at Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, they all worked hand in hand. Yeah, so they all former, what was it, deputy, whatever, and she was his former madam. Yeah.
General, who Donald Trump claimed today is respected by everybody. Now, I sat in a courtroom in Manhattan and watched Todd Blanche lose in the one criminal trial Donald Trump has faced, where Donald Trump was hit with 34 guilty verdicts on 34 charges because Todd Blanche was the worst lawyer in that room. So no, Todd Blanche is not respected by everybody. That is another lie Donald Trump told when praising his criminal defense lawyer today. The Trump White House is leaking the possibility through various news agencies that a transcript will be released of Todd Blanche's interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. There is no possibility that that transcript will include all of Todd Blanche's communication with Ghislaine Maxwell and her criminal defense lawyer, who is a personal friend of Todd Blanche. As Donald Trump kept rambling about Todd Blanche, and the reporter kept asking, but what about her? Donald Trump ignored that question, what about her, and didn't say a word about Ghislaine Maxwell. This time, Donald Trump did not say, I wish her well, which Donald Trump has said before about the woman who was convicted of recruiting children to have sex with Jeffrey Epstein and sexually abusing those children herself.
Yep.
Tonight, ABC News is reporting.
She abused them as well.
Want to try terzepatide?
She abused them kids as well.
And it is the #1 weight loss.
Sick
is reporting, quote, during her 9 hours speaking with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, Last month, Ghislaine Maxwell said nothing during the interview that would be harmful to President Donald Trump, telling Blanche that Trump had never done anything in her presence that would have caused concern, according to sources familiar with what Maxwell said. That was obviously the mission Donald Trump's criminal defense lawyer embarked on. Get Ghislaine Maxwell to say nothing that would be harmful to Donald Trump. And then Ghislaine Maxwell immediately got transferred from a serious federal prison in Florida, meant to house, among others, sex criminals, to the easiest federal custody facility that exists in America for women, which is not meant to house sex criminals like Ghislaine Maxwell. The rules had to be changed by Donald Trump's Justice Department to get Ghislaine Maxwell into that much more pleasant facility that is located in Texas near members of her family. Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers lied today in a motion opposing the release of grand jury testimony in her case. The lawyers made the legitimate point that I've made on this program, that Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal is still pending before the United States Supreme Court. So grand jury transcripts should not be unsealed in a case that could conceivably go back for a retrial. That is a serious legal point. But the lawyers went beyond that and claimed that Ghislaine Maxwell is a scapegoat. That was their word. And that's the word that they want out there about Ghislaine Maxwell. The Maxwell lawyers wrote, when Epstein died, prosecutors from the Southern District of New York pivoted and made Maxwell the face of his crimes. She became the scapegoat and the only person the government could put on trial. This is what Judge Allison Nathan said about Ghislaine Maxwell's own crimes, the ones she committed, when the judge sentenced Ghislaine Maxwell for 20 years in federal prison for the crimes committed not by Jeffrey Epstein, but the crimes committed by Ghislaine Maxwell.
Her crimes.
The judge said, quote, the evidence at trial established that Ms. Maxwell directly and repeatedly and over the course of many years participated in a horrific scheme to entice, transport, and traffic underage girls, some as young as 14, for sexual abuse by and with Jeffrey Epstein. The judge paused there to stress that phrase, by and with. The judge said, I will pause on those words for a moment, by and with Epstein. It is important at the outset to emphasize that although Epstein was, of course, central to this criminal scheme, Ms. Maxwell is not being punished in place of Epstein or as a proxy for Epstein. Like every other participant in a multi-defendant case, Ms. Maxwell is being punished for the role that she played in the criminal conduct. As to that role, the trial evidence established that Ms. Maxwell was instrumental in the abuse of several underage girls and that she herself participated in some of the abuse. Ghislaine Maxwell was a child molester.
And Trump
that
knows
was
that.
Proved in her trial. During her sentencing hearing, the prosecutor said that the whole sex trafficking scheme began with Ghislaine Maxwell's recruitment of the first girl enlisted into that scheme. The prosecutor said this about Jeffrey Epstein and his co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. They were predators together. They molested kids together. And Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal defense lawyers did not say one word in her sentencing hearing to contradict that statement that the prosecutors made. They heard the prosecutors say that, and they didn't say a word about it. No one stood up in that courtroom for Ghislaine Maxwell to say that she did not molest kids. Ghislaine Maxwell spoke at her sentencing hearing herself, and she did not say that she did not molest kids. She heard the prosecutor minutes before her say that about her, say that she molested kids. And when it was her turn to speak, Ghislaine Maxwell did not dispute that statement, that she personally molested kids. And today her lawyers used the word scapegoat. That's the word Donald Trump is going to use, and that Todd Blanche
Yeah, they
is
said
going
that
to
she
use
may be a
if they
victim.
are
Are they
scheming
crazy?
to make Donald Trump's wish come true for Ghislaine Maxwell. Donald Trump said he wishes her well. And the man who wishes her well now has the power to pardon her. The man who wishes her well has the power to release her from prison. And if that's what he's trying to do in exchange for Ghislaine Maxwell, insisting that Donald Trump knew nothing about Jeffrey Epstein's raping of children, then Donald Trump will want to claim that she was just a scapegoat, and that is a lie. Donald Trump now likes to claim that he revoked Jeffrey Epstein's membership in the Mar-a-Lago private club that Donald Trump runs, that he kicked him out. Today, the Daily Beast reports that Jeffrey Epstein remained a member of Donald Trump's club for more than a year after he was first indicted on federal charges of sex trafficking in Florida. The Daily Beast reports
looking to hire.
It's time to impeach
tech
Trump.
support, kitchen help, freight managers, you name it.
The president told reporters that he cut ties with Epstein after the pedophile stole female workers from his exclusive Florida members club. But the revelation that Epstein was allegedly still a member of the club 7 years after Epstein poached Virginia Giuffre from the spa at Mar-a-Lago in 2000 raises questions over Trump's version of events. Epstein was a member of the club until October 2007, more than a year after he was indicted and released on bail, according to the Grifters Club, Trump Mar-a-Lago, and the Selling of the Presidency. In the footnotes of their book, the team of Miami Herald journalists, Sarah Blasky, Caitlin Ostroff, Nicholas Nahamas, and Jay Weaver reported the authors viewed a membership list showing that Epstein's account had been closed. The book reports that the membership log shows his account at the club was closed in October 2007. So 7 years after Ghislaine Maxwell found Virginia Giuffre working at Donald Trump's spa and brought her to Jeffrey Epstein's house the day that she met her at Donald Trump's spa. 7 years after that, Jeffrey Epstein was still a member of Donald Trump's club. A year after he was indicted, Jeffrey Epstein was still a member of Donald Trump's club. And there is no evidence in the records that Donald Trump ended Jeffrey Epstein's membership, that he kicked him out. That might have been Jeffrey Epstein's own decision to close that membership. Today, the Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer, issued subpoenas after they were approved 2 weeks ago by a subcommittee. One subpoena demands the Epstein files from the Justice Department, asking for, quote, all documents and communications relating or referring to Mr. Jeffrey Epstein or Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell, and further relating or referring to human trafficking, exploitation of minors, sexual abuse, or related activity. The committee also issued subpoenas to every attorney general, Republican and Democrat, who served during any of the federal investigations of Jeffrey Epstein, and to every FBI director who served during the federal investigations of Jeffrey Epstein, and to President Bill Clinton, because the subpoena said he traveled on Jeffrey Epstein's plane 4 times, something Bill Clinton has publicly acknowledged, and a subpoena to former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is being subpoenaed, according to the chairman's letter to her, because, quote, Ms. Maxwell's nephew worked for your 2008 presidential campaign and was hired by the State Department shortly after you became Secretary of State. That is a much weaker connection to Ghislaine Maxwell than the guy who's in this picture over my shoulder right now, who knows much more about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell than Hillary Clinton ever will.
True that. True that. Hold on.
is day 198 of the second Trump administration. And this evening, there is a lot happening in the story of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Donald Trump's White House. The Department of Justice is considering releasing the audio transcript or both of the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's interview with Maxwell. That is according to an official familiar with the matter. Another source telling NBC News that the transcripts could be released as early as this week. Well, today the president was asked about that very interview and Maxwell's controversial transfer last week to a minimum security prison camp down in Texas, and watch his response.
Were you aware of and did you personally approve the prison transfer for Ghislaine Maxwell that your Justice Department...
I didn't know about it at all. No, I read about it just like you did.
And do you believe that she is...
It's not a very uncommon thing.
Do you believe that she's credible to be listening to? Your Deputy Attorney General sat down with her recently.
Well, let me tell you, he's a very talented man. His name is Todd Blanche. He's a very legitimate person. I didn't discuss it with him, but anything he talked about with her or the fact that he did that, not unusual, number one, and most importantly is something that would be totally above board.
Not sure if you saw the news, but Fox News is claiming President Trump is declining in the polls. President Trump responded and says...
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice wants 5 days of grand jury testimony in the Epstein and Maxwell cases released. Right now, the government is still considering whether they will press for more to be unsealed. Well, victims of Epstein and Maxwell are now weighing in. One of them blasted the government for their plan to unseal testimony, calling it political warfare. But today, another victim, Annie Farmer, filed a letter with the court saying, quote, unsealing the grand jury transcripts is not just appropriate, it is necessary to understand the full scope of the abuse and those who enabled it. Ghislaine Maxwell opposes the move. Her lawyers say it would hurt her legal rights. The Epstein estate says it takes no position on the issue. And today, the House Oversight Committee issued a string of subpoenas in the case, demanding that the DOJ turn over the full, unredacted Epstein files by August 19th. The committee also wants testimony from the Clintons, several former attorneys general, and 2 former FBI directors. But here's what's interesting. One person who was not subpoenaed, Alex Acosta. Do you remember that name?
Yeah.
He was the U.S. attorney who signed off on the original Epstein deal. Acosta was serving as Trump's labor secretary when Epstein was charged again in 2019, which of course led him to resign. Remember that? All right, let's get smarter with the help of our lead-off panel tonight. John Allen is here, senior national politics reporter for NBC News. Daniela Diaz, congressional reporter for Notice, and Jeff Mason, White House correspondent for Reuters. Mr. Allen, let's start with you and what the president said, that he did not talk to Todd Blanche about the Maxwell interview, but he knows it was all above board. Both things cannot be true.
Right.
He also defended the prison transfer. What is your take on what we heard? And by the way, this whole idea, maybe we're going to get to hear the Blanche interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. The interview might not be the only conversation they had. The interview, what they could release, could be a portion of what they want us to hear.
Yeah, absolutely, Stephanie. I mean, we don't know until we see what it is that Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell talked about, we have not seen any of it yet. You mentioned the president talking about it all being above board and not having talked to Todd Blanche about it. It's curious to me, as it is to you, that he would be able to know both of those things. But I do know that this president describes all of his actions as above board, no matter what they are. This is a president who understands that there's some value in showing, demonstrating, or at least claiming that there is arm's length distance between himself and the Justice Department. Just because Donald Trump didn't talk to Todd Blanche doesn't mean that nobody at the White House talked to Todd Blanche, and it doesn't mean that Todd Blanche doesn't know exactly what it is that he's supposed to do when he goes to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell. So, I mean, I think we're going to wait and see here on what gets released and what doesn't and when it does. But all of it is a distraction from a couple of very important things. The young girls who were hurt.
Absolutely.
And the entirety of the Jeffrey Epstein files that the Justice Department has that still have not been released, despite months and months and months of administration claims that they would release things.
Jeff, the president didn't there, but has the White House or anyone in this administration given a real response to why exactly Ghislaine Maxwell, a convicted sex trafficker, was moved from the prison she was in Florida to a much lesser, lighter prison camp over in Texas?
No. And that's the very short and direct answer. They haven't. And I thought it was instructive or insightful anyway to hear the president respond to the question today by saying that it was not unusual when experts have been saying now since then, since she was transferred, that it absolutely is unusual for somebody who had as many years left on her sentence and for somebody who was convicted of the crimes that she was convicted of to be transferred to that kind of a prison. But the prison system has not answered, and the White House has not suggested, hasn't given any background or reasoning for it either. Certainly, again, also interesting that it's on the president's radar, and this is coming at a time when the conspiracy theories around Epstein and around Ghislaine Maxwell have certainly not dropped, and the fact that she was transferred shortly after having the meeting that she did with the president's deputy attorney general has only led to additional questions and I think probably theories that this was some kind of a signal or a trade-off. I don't have any evidence to prove that, but the White House and the administration has not done anything to explain the other, whatever alternative reasoning there would be for that transfer.
Well, how about these new subpoenas, Daniela? What are you hearing from folks on the Hill? We've got all sorts of people in former administrations and the FBI who they want to hear from, but not Alex Acosta, the person who was directly involved in that first, what many call, sweetheart deal that Jeffrey Epstein got down in Florida. That was Alex's doing, and nobody's looking to have a conversation with him.
And he's still.
Did you order delivery to a restaurant? I did. I wanted to join them. Are we?
You're not stoned. It's just that good. Mike's Hot Honey.
You've never seen a pillow like this before. Have you heard about Dorilla Ergo? It's the cutting-edge ergonomic pillow.
Hold on.
Very clear that these subpoenas from the House Oversight Committee, especially the ones done by Republicans, which are the ones that you talked about for, former President Bill Clinton, his wife Hillary Clinton, of course, former U.S. Attorneys Generals, James Comey, those were very political in their nature and very pointed from Republicans on the committee in an effort to fight back against Democrats who actually were the first ones to subpoena and win because they have Republican support materials from the DOJ about these Epstein files. This happened when Congress was in session just 2 weeks ago. It was a very political fight between Republicans and Democrats on the House Oversight Committee. Now, interesting that the subpoenas were only just signed or released today while they're in recess, but it really shows, Stephanie, that Congress is feeling the pressure from the DOJ about these Epstein files. This happened when Congress was in session just 2 weeks ago. It was a very political fight between Republicans and Democrats on the House Oversight Committee. Now, interesting that the subpoenas were only...
Yeah, bear with me. Lord, I don't know what's happening. Hold on.
only just signed or released today while they're in recess, but it really shows, Stephanie, that Congress is feeling the pressure as well on this. You're hearing members of Congress talking about this at town halls. Mike Flood with flooded, excuse my words there, by constituents on this issue. Not only that, but of course all the other things that Republicans are doing in Congress right now, like cutting Medicaid, et cetera, with that big, beautiful bill. But the pressure is mounting, and that's why you're seeing President Donald Trump at the White House talking about this. He's still getting questions, and that's why we're seeing Republicans issue these subpoenas.
Hold on, y'all. It sounds like she's speaking too fast.
That is going away.
All right, new topic, Mr.
Subpoenas were only just signed or released today while they're in recess, but it really shows, Stephanie, that Congress is feeling the pressure as well on this. You're hearing members of Congress talking about this at town halls. Mike Flood was flooded, excuse my words there, by constituents on this issue. Not only that, but of course all the other things that Republicans are doing in Congress right now, like cutting Medicaid, et cetera, with that big, beautiful bill. But the pressure is mounting, and that's why you're seeing President Donald Trump at the White House talking about this. He's still getting questions, and that's why we're seeing Republicans issue these subpoenas, because this is not an issue that is going away.
All right, new topic, Mr. Allen, to you. This fight over the redrawn Texas map. Today, Republican Senator John Cornyn, he actually urged the FBI to arrest the Democrats who left the state to prevent the vote, and the president agreed that the FBI might have to get involved. To me, it seems like both sides are just going to keep digging in and escalating.
Yeah, I mean, John Cornyn's involved in a primary fight against the Attorney General in Texas, Ken Paxton. John Cornyn is looking for something that he can dig his heels into or dig his hands into to show that he's tough on this. I remember a time not so long ago when John Cornyn was a fan of states' rights and didn't like federal overreach. And, you know, I'm not a lawyer, but I certainly know that it is unusual for the federal government to try to locate and prosecute people for what would be state crimes, if in fact they were crimes versus civil violations. This is, I think, a lot of hot rhetoric over what's going on in Texas, and really has a lot more to do with John Cornyn's politics as he tries to re-win nomination against a tough opponent than it does anything else.
In fact, in clinical trials, the average weight loss was 20% of total body weight. That's 50% more than Ozempic ever got during its trial.
Well, the president said, and I want to say, quote, "We are entitled to 5 more seats in Texas." He also said he is not worried about blue states turning around and redrawing their maps in response, because they would have done it already if they planned on it.
Oh,
Jeff, how badly does the president need these extra seats in November? What's at stake?
Well, everything is at stake for him in terms of his ability to pass additional legislation. The midterms traditionally punish the incumbent president or the president who's in power, and this president will faces that risk absolutely coming up next year, which is still a ways away. I think it's important to mention, but if you just look at that town hall that that Congressman Flood faced in Nebraska, which is not a blue state, you can certainly deduce that there might be some problems lying ahead for the president's ability to maintain his majority in the House of Representatives. I also think it's important to mention when we're talking about this topic that the idea of just grabbing some more congressional districts and adding additional seats that would be safer for him is in line with how he's treating other things the way that he's governing. And for example, the firing of the BLS commissioner. How do those two things relate? You hear something that you don't like, or you see something that you don't like, and then you just choose an out-of-the-box solution to make it something that you do like. He's treating everything from his administration and the figures that he's getting or not getting from his from the Labor Department down to trying to redraw a congressional map in the same way, and using that same sort of theory or strategy for both issues.
Hold on. What was being said over here? Hold on.
Girl has now joined us. We got to discuss the meeting. How did you two meet?
We met in New York, 1998. It was a fashion week, September 1998.
The famous fashion week.
The famous fashion week in New
You
York.
lying too. You met
we
him
were
by
at the
Epstein.
same party, and that's how we met. He came to me.
Away?
I went crazy. I said, I was actually supposed to meet somebody else, and there was this great supermodel sitting next to Melania.
He was supposed to meet somebody else. It was an arranged meeting.
I said, forget about her. Who's the one on the left? And it was Melania.
You like him right away?
It was a great chemistry and energy. We had, great time. We started to talk, and, it was something was there right away.
And it was a long engagement.
It was.
Why?
Well,
she met on Ghislaine and Epstein introduced them. They lying.
Lives, and then one day, surprise.
How did the proposal take place?
Well, we were together. We were together 5 years. We literally have never had an argument, or forget about the word fight. We never even had an argument. We just are very compatible.
Oh my God!
And I just said, you know what, it's time. And it wasn't a big deal. It was almost like it was obvious.
You know what, it's time.
No, I did it a little better than that. Without going into too much detail, but it was time, and we just had.
He can never explain, can he?
Melania Trump, the international cover girl, has now joined us. We got.
He can never fully explain, can he? Yeah, please hit the like button. Let's see what Nancy Grace is talking about.
It's a deafening sound. Breaking news tonight. An Epstein bombshell. A shadowy figure dressed as an inmate is spotted climbing the stairs to Epstein's cell. What? And we're just getting 11 new hours of video? Where's that video been all this time?
11 new hours?
This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
11 new hours? Oh my God. Please say it ain't so. Please say it's not so. 11 more hours?
Came to his place, who flew on his plane, who went on the Lolita Express, who went to his private island where girls were. Something stinks. I want justice. It's been described as a mystery orange blob, but that is not entirely true. Let's take a look at a clip we got from the video that has just been released. You have to look. In the original copy, it's a lot easier to see, but it is an elongated orange figure. It's not as you're trying to tell us somebody carrying laundry that's much better. That's much better. These are steps going up to Epstein's tier. Okay? We've been told the guards were asleep and one was shopping online when he was killed. We've been told the two doors we've seen over and over and over are the only way to get onto his cell tier. That is a lie. See those two doors? Total BS. Those are not the only two ways to get in and out of that tier. Now, we also were told that there's a problem with the CCTV, that you can't see Epstein's cell. Well, okay, everything we're being fed is poison. Take a listen to this.
The public was already skeptical of the DOJ's claims. The footage from the shoe where Jeffrey Epstein was housed clearly shows Epstein is the only person who entered his cell block the night of his death. A mysterious orange blob climbing the steps to L Block has eviscerated all trust in their review. The Inspector General says the movement on the staircase around 10:40 p.m. is CO Tova Noel carrying inmate linens up to the L Block, but video analysis experts say it's more likely the figure was wearing orange, not carrying orange material.
Joining us an all-star panel to make sense of what we are learning tonight, but I can tell you this, having been in innumerable CIs, correctional institutes, jails, halfway houses.
They have
TV,
7 more hours.
You name it. I've been in it. Max, hardcore, death row, been there. Nobody walks the halls in a CI with their hands full of laundry. That doesn't happen. Your hands have to be free. If someone were transporting laundry, it would have been in a roller bin. As a matter of fact, we're going to show you in a moment a worker coming out with a roller bin. But see down there, hands free. Everybody hands-free. And first of all, before I go to our investigative report, I want to go to Dr. Dwayne Hendricks, former associate warden at MDC in Brooklyn, former senior warden.
Y'all hit the like button. I need 30 likes. I need 30 likes. Double tap your screen. Hit those 3 buttons at the top. If you're on your device. But I need them if I'm going to continue, because this is long-winded. Oh, I can't show you. Y'all hit those buttons at the top of your screen and then hit the like button.
U.S. DOJ, Department of Justice, with the Federal Bureau of Prisons. It goes on and on. Founder, President, New Daylight Foundation, and author up. See the wheelie? That's what I'm talking about. She has her hands free, and everything she wants to carry, she's got it on a workman's apron around her waist. That's SOP. Author of Who Are You? See It, Say It, Sees It. Dr. Hendricks, isn't it true that in a CI, especially one that houses dangerous inmates like this one, nobody is walking around with an armload of laundry? Here's another guy. See? Hands free. What about it, Hendricks?
Yes, that is true. All laundry is carried on a cart. And if they're inmate workers, or there's normally an orderly on each unit, even if it's special housing. Typically, it's an inmate who isn't violent or doesn't have any serious history going on. So typically, they will have laundry on the cart. The staff will open the slot, and the inmate will take whatever laundry from the inmate, and then they exchange. So it has to be exchanged for dirty linen to clean linen, and that's standard operating procedure. Typically, laundry exchanges normally happen during business hours. Sometimes they may happen during the evening, but after the 9 o'clock count, inmates are locked down, and there's really no reason for them to be out of their cell after that 9 o'clock stand-up count.
Well, you're going to flip when I tell you this, Dr. Hendricks. According to the wardens on the floor, of course, one went to sleep, one was online shopping or some BS like that. They allowed Epstein to go into the bathroom showers to make a private phone call. And I guarantee you there ain't a payphone in the showers. Totally violating the rules of the CI. Letting an inmate go unsupervised into the bathrooms to make a phone call? No.
First of all, he should have had a restroom, toilet, and a sink in his cell.
He did.
So typically, when inmates make phone calls, they'll wheel a phone with a long cord to the cell. They'll open the slot, and the inmate will make the phone call at the cell. So unless they took him actually to someone's office to make an unmonitored call, I don't see why that phone call would have happened. Because typically inmates of special housing, other than their attorneys, you only get one call every 30 days.
One call every 30 days?
Hi.
Hey everyone, today I'm breaking down the top 5 collagen powders of the year and why the #1 pick is helping over.
Hi guys, Nancy Grace here. Are you worried about harmful cooking oil? You look up Club Fed in the dictionary, it's this to get through tonight. #1, his hench person who is a convicted child. He just didn't arrange Epstein to get his mitts on these 12, 13-year-old little girls. She took part in the...
Yep.
She's a monster. Ghislaine Maxwell.
She took part.
She just got moved to a cushion. The olive oil hunter. Try your first bottle free. Nope. FreshNancy.com. Joining us an all-star panel, and we've got a lot to get through tonight. #1, his hench person who is a convicted child. He just didn't arrange Epstein to get his mitts on these 12, 13-year-old little girls. She took part in the... She's a monster. Ghislaine Maxwell.
Hey, Joseph.
She just got moved to a cushy, basically camp a camp.
I'm
there are
shocked.
no perimeters. They have
that she was
yoga.
moved.
They walk freely. It's the
But I'm not shocked with
pushiest
nothing now.
Club Fed. This is what you look up Club Fed in the dictionary. It's this place. She's been moved there. Why is she getting special treatment?
Come on, I need for y'all to get the likes up. I'm gonna go ahead and leave. Get the likes up. I need 15 likes, please, real quick. Double tap your screen or hit the 3 buttons at the top and hit the thumbs up.
Happening with her. I don't like it. That's one thing. But right now, I'm more concerned about who is the perp walking up and down the cell steps to Epstein's tier the night he was killed. It was at, I said earlier, almost 11. It was 10:39 p.m. And you're so right, Hendricks. That is not the time that laundry is exchanged or taken to the prison laundry. Okay, what do we know? Straight out to Tisa Tells joining us, investigative reporter. She's at Tisa Tells on YouTube. Tisa, hit me.
The fact that we are looking on a highly edited tape, they released 11 hours. They said there was a minute that skipped. We now know that there's about 8 minutes missing from that tape. There's not even the full, it's 10 hours, 52 minutes. We clearly see a shadowy orange figure. And they want us in a post-Diddy trial world to believe that it's some Tom and Jerry stack of orange jumpsuits up to the ceiling that they're carrying through the correctional facility. And they want us to believe that that's not human. The fact that the administration, listen, who knows why they are telling us not to believe our lying eyes, but we see it for what it is. That is a human being walking into a cell.
Let's see it again. She's right. T said my words exactly. Should I believe you or my lying eyes? I see what I see. Okay, joining us is Epstein's brother, who also agrees this is not anybody carrying laundry. But I want to go back to what we know about Epstein's death. What do we know? Joining me, Joseph Scott Morgan, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University, author, Blood Beneath My Feet, star of a hit podcast, Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan. Joe Scott has attended over 1,000 death scenes of all varieties, be it accidental, natural causes, or homicide. Joe Scott, does it never end? Okay, I see what I'm seeing. I'm running it right here in front of me. The person clad in orange. Is it an inmate in orange? Why isn't he already in his cell? Why is he walking free? Was he sent to this tier? If so, by whom? Why is he wandering around from tier to tier? In other words, floor to floor. Okay, or is it someone wearing inmates' clothes, which is even more disturbing? But I do know it is a human. I believe it is a male because they're tall, and they're wearing the prison orange jumpsuit. And they're going to Jeffrey Epstein's tier the night he's murdered. Why are you, like me, so convinced Epstein was murdered? And what does this mystery orange clad person have to do? How does it factor into your thesis?
Well, first off, I think it would be an outlier relative to the injuries related to his death. They're trying to call this a suicide. And the problem is that what has been left behind, which has been well documented by Dr. Bodden, is the fact that you've got this indwelling fractured cartilage in his neck, and it's on both sides, Nancy.
Okay, this is what I've been waiting to see. A good view. First of all, I could never understand why it was so many sheets. Orange sheets in this room. Hold on. In this cell. Y'all hit the like button, please. Why was there so many orange sheets?
The problem is that what has been left behind, which has been well documented by Dr. Bodden, is the fact that you've got...
Why was there so many sheets in this cell? And it was only one person in there.
There's the indwelling fractured cartilage in his neck, and it's on both sides, Nancy, right?
Where could he hang himself? And why was there so many orange sheets? That looks
here to the left and the right of the Adam's apple. And then on top of that, you've got this fractured hyoid, which everybody has gone on and on about. The problem is that they are saying that he was hung. And one more thing we have to keep in mind, the ME in this case has stated that this is what's referred to as a soft hanging, which means he kind of settled down into this thing. There was not a lot of force with it. That's what she's opining.
Now this is the jail where Diddy at.
She explains this by saying that because of his age, the hyoid was ossified to the point where it snapped. Well, maybe that's the case, but you still cannot account for these cartilaginous fractures he has inferior or below that region. That's why so many of us are drawing this, this blank stare you get from us relative to you're trying to sell us this. This is more consistent with a manual strangulation or with a ligature where direct pressure is being applied.
Yeah, I was just about to disagree with you because this is clearly ligature. I mean, when you look at the pictures, this is not manual, Joe Scott. Now, I see in the back what you're talking about. I see in the back, it looks like it could be.
It says the images has been blurred due to graphic nature.
No, I think that's the ligature from behind, but the front
I need 5 likes, y'all.
is not by hand.
Right. Can you keep this up here for just a quick second,
Yes.
Nancy? So you see this furrow. It's very, very, very deep. Do you see how dark it almost looks like?
They have it blocked because it's too graphic. I need 5 likes.
That is actually a furrow abrasion. That's what it's referred to, and it's very, very deep. This does not marry up with all of that dirty cloth that they've got laying around on the floor inside of his cell, that squalid area where he was living. And also, if you could please go back to the other image of his throat, you will see a mark that is slightly above that furrow. And just to the left side, there's kind of that abraded area. It looks kind of linear right there. It's superior to the furrow. That's what would be termed as like a readjustment mark, where this thing is being manipulated in some way. So do we have a couple of things going on here? Is it plausible that you could not only have a ligature at work here, but then you have somebody applying direct manual pressure with their hand in adjacent to this, or as a part of this, to bring about his death? I think that's very interesting. I'll shut up after this.
Okay, that was a lot of words. And the only reason I'm interrupting, which drives everybody crazy, is driving me crazy, is because that was so much of a download. I'm not saying any of it's wrong. I do say this was not a manual. I mean, I'm not a death investigator like you, but I can look at that and tell you that was a ligature strangulation. I don't need to be an expert to know that was not manual. But everything else, I completely agree. But you have to, when you feed a baby that's not a death